Hi, I'm Craig, and I'm with sleep expert Dr. Robert Exman. Now, Doc, you've expanded my own personal thinking here. I've always been a mattress guy, and when I think about getting a better night's sleep, that's the first and only thing that I thought about. Got to get the right mattress. But you've expanded our thinking in that there's things outside of the mattress that will impact how well we sleep. So, teach us, how do we set up a good sleep environment?
Yeah, so first thing I want to make sure that we're real clear on, and that is that mattresses will impact our sleep.
Okay.
We don't have to change anything.
Right.
Just change a mattress to the right mattress, and it's going to impact your sleep.
Okay.
But again, when I do treatment for insomnia, when I look at the top three things in our environment: light, temperature, and noise.
Okay, so let's start with the first one. Let's start with light. Now, are you talking about natural light, or what kind of light are we talking about
Yeah,
here?
both outside of our bedroom and inside of our bedroom.
Okay.
Any amount of light at all while we're trying to get a good night of sleep is going to decrease what we call the melatonin. Melatonin is secreted in the pineal gland in the brain only in darkness. Any amount of light at all that strikes, even with our eyelids closed, even the small LED light that maybe is on your television, maybe it's on your smoke detector, can actually decrease the amount of melatonin we produce. And especially that alarm clock that's sitting right there, those big bright numbers that's disrupting our sleep all night long. So we've got to be able to get rid of all of that light so that we can get the sleep we need, get the melatonin production we need so we can get sleep all night.
So give us some points on how do we control that light? How do we remove the light from our room?
Well, and I'm probably not very popular here because one of the first things I'm going to do with a patient who's having insomnia issues is we're getting rid of the TV and the phone out of the room.
TV and the phone
And
out
the
of the room.
phone, and computers, and iPads, anything that's going to produce light. And what happens is patients or customers oftentimes get used to falling asleep with the TV on.
Right.
So now what happens is once they go to sleep, even if it's on a timer, when they wake up at night, they go, oh, the only way I go back to sleep is to have the TV on. And they start this over. We decrease melatonin production. It's more difficult for us to sleep, and our sleep isn't as restorative as that. If it's an iPad we pick up, if it's a Kindle we pick up, if it's our phone that we decide to check, all of that increases, that light to our eyes decreases melatonin. So one of the things we need to make sure we do, if we can't eliminate all of that light, it's blackout curtains. It's a wonderful thing to do. But a lot of people have big transoms up above a light, below blackout, so they can't black everything out. Or if you have a partner who chooses to just keep the television on, or chooses to stay awake later at night and use their iPad, use their computer to work while you're trying to get sleep, it's a simple eye mask. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. And again, if you now have to egress out of your bed to take care of a child, or maybe you just have to egress out to use the restroom in the middle of the night. A lot of people would turn lights on. That's the wrong thing you can do because, again, immediately we decrease melatonin production at that time. So there's some little night lights out there called low blue light night lights. And it looks like a little bug light. It has an orange glow to it. And that orange glow doesn't have the blue wave spectrum. We want to reduce the blue wave spectrum, which reduces the melatonin production. They work extremely well. And don't forget, cover up your alarm clock. Turn it around, cover it up. It doesn't matter what time of the night it is. It doesn't matter. The alarm clock's still going to work and wake you up in the morning.
Okay, so let's move on then from light. Let's talk about temperature. So I know that the room is supposed to be cold. Just how cold is it supposed to be? How do we control temperature?
Yeah, and again, we need this decrease in core body temperature. And one of the ways we can do that is exposing our head to some very cool air. It acts as kind of a radiator and allows us to have natural reduction in our core body temperature. Temperature around 18 to 20 degrees Celsius is great, which is about 65, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. But 18 to 20 degrees Celsius is a perfect temperature. It allows us to decrease our core body temperature naturally through our head.
So we've done light and we've done temperature. The last one that you mentioned was noise. Now, I understand how noise can interrupt our sleep. I personally live in the city, so I hear planes and trains and cars and sirens and things like that. What can I do to control the noise in my environment?
I think probably move, right? Yeah, my environment, a couple crickets at night, and that's just about it. So if you're not going to move, if you're not going to move, not going to get away from the airport or the train station, whatever that is, or even the noise inside of your own home if you're trying to sleep, it's called white noise. It's a wonderful thing that you can buy white noise machines. Now, I'm not talking about a machine that puts out the rainforest.
Frogs and stuff.
Or frogs. Or I even saw one where it was actually a New York City scape because people who live in New York City think they're used to it, so when they go somewhere quiet, they have to have that to sleep. That's not a good thing at all.
No?
It's
Okay.
just natural white noise is the best thing. Now, a lot of people may choose to use an earplug. I think they're a little uncomfortable, but if you choose to use that, that's okay, but just straight white noise. If you have a fan in the house that you can put in, and if you don't like it blowing on you, blow the fan away from you, but that constant hum of that white noise is a great way for us to drown out any other noise in our environment.
Okay, so light, temperature, noise, but we have one more thing that's disrupting us in our environment, and that's our partners.
Yeah.
Now, this has been one of my favorite things that you have taught me, because you've really opened my eyes here. Again, I'm a mattress guy, so to me it was all about the right mattress. We always talked about partners disturbing us through motion. Maybe my partner gets up in the middle of the night or comes to bed late, and the movement in the bed would disturb partners. So we would talk a lot about wrapped coils or dense foams or things like that that absorb that motion.
Yeah.
But what you have taught us is that motion is actually number 4 on the list of how our partners disturb us.
Yeah.
So give us the rest of that list. What's number 1?
Yeah, so again, what we said was from a researcher standpoint, especially from a sleep research point, I heard all the industry talking about what I'd call the tsunami wave.
Yeah.
That when I move at night, there's a tsunami wave that goes across and wakes them up. Now,
Right.
I grant it, you can feel motion in a bed. If you jump around on a bed, you can feel motion. But is that motion so great that it actually wakes someone up? So we did what's called a co-partner disturbance index. We measured partners sleeping together to see what was actually disrupting from sleeper from one to another.
Yeah.
Number 1 on the list, you probably are going to guess it, it's called snoring.
Snoring. Okay.
Now, I don't care what kind of a coil you have, snoring's going to happen, right?
Right.
And so we need to be able to control that. One of the best things you can do for snoring is a little device that almost looks like what you'd use if you played sports, a little mouth guard that you would
Okay.
put in your mouth.
Yeah.
But this little mouth guard just gently puts the lower jaw forward. If you've ever had CPR training, if we're going to open up the airway, the easiest way to do that is just to pull the jaw forward just a little bit. And that is very effective at controlling snoring at night. If your snoring is because you have sleep apnea, a CPAP device is the absolute best thing you'd have.
Right.
If you have sleep apnea and you're on a CPAP that's calibrated properly for you, you will not snore. And can you imagine what your partner is they're gonna
Wow.
love you.
It's
They're gonna-
life-changing.
Yeah,
It's
it
gotta
does.
be.
You're back in the bedroom together. You're
Right.
both sleeping correctly all night long. So those are wonderful to do. You can probably even try maybe an adjustable base by raising your body up just a little bit. It can
course.
actually do that. There are some pillows out there that claim to be able to do that as well. And maybe just encouraging you to sleep on your side. You may have noticed that a lot of partners kind of elbow the other partner snoring. They roll up on their side and they quit
yeah.
snoring.
Yeah,
but what
yeah.
do?
Right.
They roll back to their back
Right back
again,
to the back,
and they have
yeah.
to do this again. So there's
Okay.
some little devices that just encourage you to sleep on your side. Looks like
Okay.
maybe a little tennis ball that you can maybe sew into the back of your pajamas. And when you roll to your back, you're just naturally going to roll back to your side. But
Okay.
make sure if you're going to do that, if you're going to switch to a side sleep position, you get a mattress that has a lot of padding on top, so it'll reduce the amount of pressure you feel on your shoulders and your hips.
Very cool. I mean, with some of these tips, we can impact someone really dramatically. Removing
Absolutely.
a snore or correcting a snore.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so if snoring's number 1 and we know motion's number 4, let's talk about the ones in the middle. What's number 2? What is the number 2 way our partners disturb us?
Number 2 is actually when I move, I'm grabbing sheets and blankets and I'm pulling them with me. When I get back into bed, I'm pulling them over on me. If I get hot, I'm throwing them off. I'm getting cold, I'm pulling them back to me, right? So it's actually sheets and blankets. And this is, and it's interesting to me since we've done this research, the number one thing my patients tell me, the best advice you gave us, Robert, was separate sheets and blankets. Now, this is what it looks like. If you're on a queen, king, full bed, it doesn't matter, same fitted sheet. But what's on top of what I have my own separate twin size sheet, my own separate twin size blanket that goes on top of me. My partner has hers. If I sleep very warm, maybe I only have one sheet. My partner who sleeps cold maybe has 2 or 3 blankets on top of them as well. So separate sheets, separate blankets, it not only helps us as far as co-partner disturbance, but also helps us manage temperature as well.
Third way that our partners disturb us is through physical touching.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming that's not the good kind of touching. This is the bad kind of touching.
the bad
This
kind
is-
of touching.
This is the elbow in the back,
Sure.
or the knee into your thigh. It's those kind of movements throughout the night that we're actually hitting each other.
Yeah.
How do we solve that?
Yeah, so what we did is we took our couples and we put them in actually a double bed. And when we took them from the double bed, we measured co-partner disturbance associated with that. And then we took them from a double and moved them to a queen size bed without changing anything else, not changing light, temperature, noise, medication, just changing the size of their bed from a double to a queen.
Yeah.
We saw a reduction in co-partner disturbance and an increase in quality of sleep. And
Very
when we
cool.
took them to a king, guess what happened again?
Yeah.
We saw, again, another increase in quantity and quality of sleep by just changing the size of the mattress.
Now, when we talk about partners, we also have to include pets.
Yeah.
Some people like to have a cat or a dog or multiple dogs in their bedroom with them.
Yeah.
What should we do about the pets?
Yeah, I had an opportunity to get to work with a guy for just a little bit, and Alan Hobson at Harvard University. And Alan, back probably 25, 30 years ago, was doing time-lapse photography on pets in beds with the, with the owners of those.
Yeah.
And what we saw was as these dogs and cats who have very much a different circadian rhythm,
Right.
as they're moving around at night, not only in the bed, but out of the bed, back into the bed, it actually disrupts the people we're sleeping with them.
Wow.
And the problem with that is that maybe they were only awake for a short period. They may not even realize they woke up, but it was still decreasing their quantity and quality of sleep. I will tell you, Craig, that of all the things that I ask my patients to do, this is the one they're probably not going to do. They love their animals in bed,
Yeah.
and they're probably not going to move them out. But it's still the right
get rid
thing
of the
to tell
partner
them.
first.
Absolutely, the partner's gone, but they're not getting rid of the dog. They're not going to get rid of the cat. But we at least need to allow them to make them aware that may be part of the reason they're not getting the sleep that they need.
That makes sense. So to create an environment for sleep, we need to kill the lights, we need to chill, we need quiet, and we need to minimize how our partners can disturb us. Oh, and we need to put the dog out
Yeah, hey, don't forget the cat, right?
and the cat. Thanks, Doc.
You're welcome.